So today we'll have a quick look at the CFP 2-zone. This is the C-TEC CFP 2-zone conventional fire alarm panel. It's a EN54 panel, and this is the part code here. There's a 2, 4 and 8-zone version of this, all more or less the same thing. I'll go through the differences between the 4 and the 8 zone just when we have a look inside it. So this is how it comes packed. So inside we get the comes with a brochure about some other products that I'll probably do videos on anyway, one way or another. You get the manual, which is very important. Read the manual. That saves you an awful lot of other hassle as you go about. The manual actually incorporates a logbook at the back of it. Some sites use this. This is actually done to the BS standard rather than the Irish standard, but broadly similar. The installation and maintenance manual for the 2, 4 and 8 zone, same manual for all 3 variations of it. It's fairly comprehensive. Has the install guide where the access points for the various cables and the holes and all of that kind of stuff are, the wiring diagram, broad overview schematics of how to connect your cables in, how to set up your coincidence modes for your single or double knock-on zoning. It's a nifty little panel. So it comes with the manuals, and also in the bag you get your keys, which are for turning on the controls here. Ordinarily when we're leaving these on site, we'd attach a bit of string or cable between here and the nut here, because we tend to find, for whatever reason, these disappear from sites. I don't know whether it's people just put them in their pocket after they finish working on the alarms, or it's the owners of buildings just kind of thinking that they shouldn't leave it there. But it's much easier to operate the system using the key than to put in your password to accept and reset alarms on the system. And then we also have a mini Allen key just to get you inside the panel. So I'll open it up here so we can have a quick look inside. Interesting or nice feature about this panel is all of the instructions on how to actually operate the panel are printed on a sticker on the front of the panel here. So how to silence the alarms, all of that kind of stuff. As the installer, you can decide whether or not you want to write the code on the front of the panel here to allow people to override the key switch and silence it using the buttons. Generally, unless you're in an area that's kind of high risk, or you're worried about people maliciously working on this, pushing buttons on the panel, I would generally recommend leaving the code there, because long after the key is walked, you have the option of being able to silence and reset alarms. So on the 2-zone version of this, you have zone 1, zone 2, and you have 4 sounder circuits, and that's standard across all 8 panels. On the 4 and the 8 zone version of this, you would obviously have a connector block here and here for the larger size systems. You have OGS, power 24 volts out, maybe to trigger a relay to release access control or doors or that type of thing. You have OGS, fault and outputs that you can connect to other systems if you're trying to monitor other bits and pieces. And you also have a class change input, which some people use to trigger bells on the site. There was a sort of more of a convention years ago in schools and stuff. They'd connect a class change system to this to ring once every hour to tell the kids to go to a different class. It's, you know, you don't tend to see it. What you see now is people use this if they've interlinked 2 systems together and they want the bells on both to go at the same time. They use this. I'm not a massive fan of doing that. I think it adds confusion. But yeah, okay. You still have, when you have the front cover off, it just gets slightly harder to understand where exactly these buttons are, but a nice feature is that it has actually printed on the PCB here what these different buttons are. That's a newer iteration of this. It didn't used to have that, and you found that you were kind of constantly trying to consult between the panel front and the buttons. So you have all your buttons here. A delay timer. This is maybe for your coincidence mode if you want to increase or decrease the amount of time before you have to accept a second knock, that kind of thing. You're getting into complicated stuff there. Have a good read of the manual before you go setting up your coincidence menus. In here you have your access button to get you up to what would be the level 3 operations, where you can enable and disable zones, or you know, it gives you a good indication of what faults you have. On the system here you have Allen ties or tie wraps to hold your batteries in, your battery link, your end of line resistors for the sounder circuits. So obviously at the end of each of your 4 sounder circuits you need to have one of these end of line resistors to monitor the cable, or if you're not using sounder circuits 3 and 4, you can put the end of line resistor in the panel here. And then you have the end of line capacitors for your detection circuits. So this is how you're monitoring for head removed and that type of thing. So nifty little panel, neat enough. The 2, 4 and 8 are all more or less the same. There is also a repeater panel version of this available. So yeah, very brief overview of what you actually get in the packet, in the box. So thanks.